After that Denver loss, you said, trust me, this defense is going to get better.
The results did not show in that game, obviously, so I'm asking you to trust me even though there's not the results. But the guys know through the daily work that the techniques, it'll turn.
What did you see that those of us on the outside looking in couldn't see?
Well, first of all, we knew as a staff when we took over this project, we're moving a defense from a 4-3 to a 3-4, a new group of assistant coaches working together, a whole new group of free agent and draft picks. So we knew the enormity of the situation. So what we started with was the fundamentals. Let's break down the fundamentals that we're going to teach these guys, the footwork, the stances, the eyes, the little things. And let's put our focus on those. Let's not judge ourselves on wins and losses and what's happening. Let's just judge ourselves on how we're improving. And even though the Denver result wasn't anywhere near what anybody wanted, as we looked week in and week out, are the things that we're teaching, are they showing up and getting better? That's all that the statement was about.
So here we are 3 months later, and this defense since that Denver game has not given up more than 21 points. What has been the biggest turnaround for your D?
I think there's a couple things. The players understanding their individual roles and doing their jobs. I think it's a very unselfish group. I think we've got a very high effort group. And when those two are combined, you usually end up with a lot of turnovers. There's a lot of pride in making sure that they don't let their teammates down, so they handle their job. You got 11 men collectively doing their job and hustling to the ball. Good things usually happen. At
the time, you were Chip's biggest hire. What was Bill Davis selling that Chip Kelly bought into?
I wasn't selling anything. I just came in and I was myself. And I said, I've been around long enough to know I'm not going to come in and try to sell something that I'm not. I'm going to come in and be myself. And if it's a good fit, that's when this has turned out to be one of the greatest working environments I've ever been around in my 20-plus years in the league. And the reason is I came in as myself and I was a fit. And he was a fit for me and the staff was, and it just is a good place. If you come in trying to sell or be something that you're not, it never works out.
Is there one player that you lean on more than anybody else?
I'm going to say no. I don't think there's a player. I think there's a group of veterans, and I usually go from position to position, and it's usually casual conversation, but it could be any of them because they all have input, they all have perspective on it, even some of the young guys. Sometimes the most valuable insight you can get is from a young guy's perspective that hasn't been around for a long time. But most of the time it's the vets, though. But we've got great leadership. We really do, and that's part of the reason there is success is because we've got guys that cross the big white line and go on the field and they lead, and the Connor Barwins and the D'Amicos and that group, and I can just keep going, but those are the guys that really pull it together, because coaches never cross the big fat white line. And that white line we don't get to go across. The guys out there, there's leadership out there, they've got to make sure in the line of fire that they can handle it and handle adversity, and those are the guys that really are doing well for us.
Well, with the success that you've had with this defense here this year, in a lot of ways do you feel vindicated?
I don't know about vindicated. I know this defensive staff that put this together. This is a group effort, and here's where I think it really goes wrong quick. You get too much blame as a coordinator when it goes wrong and get fired as a figurehead when it takes everybody. And the same thing happens when you have success. There's way too much of this being my defense, and it's not. It's our defense. This is a Philadelphia Eagle defense that a group of men that are the defensive staff put together with Chip Kelly, the head coach's vision in mind. So we've worked together to get this together. So it's not a me, I vindicated. This is a great thing to be part of it. And moving forward, we just see it getting better and better.